Welcome to the channel. So today Chris and I are going to work on installing these bed slides. We picked up some I call them the scratch and dent, and Chris thought I should tape it because this particular slide is called a Loadmaster, and there was no videos on how to install them. So what you're looking at right now is we had them both loaded in the truck. This one's for hers. You can see the scratch and dent. It's got a little bit of frame damage on there. So this one is going in her Dodge. That's the rail piece. That'll come out. We're going to mount it in there. Put the slide back on here. They were pretty heavy. I'll tell you about these though. To get this completely off, you got to twist this here to move it, and then it'll catch. You got to twist it to move it out further. It'll catch, and twist it one more time. So same thing, this is the back side of mine. The reason they sold this one cheap is because it had been sitting out and got kind of rusted. And here is the rail slide for mine. So it's essentially going to be 4 nuts. And I'm going to mount this in my Ranger over here, which I'm currently taking stuff out of the back. That belongs in my camper when I buy it. I just kind of stored stuff in there. So that's going to go in the back of that. And right now Chris was working on taking some of the rust off. And I'm going to use my rust prohibitive on there. And then I'm just going to give it a quick coat of primer. Some of the rust off is coming off pretty easily. And I want to note she's got safety glasses on, which I see a lot of people doing this type of work without that, so wear your safety glasses. You can see that the metal's a lot cleaner now. Right in there. So what's going on next is this OSFO. And cheap Dollar Tree brush. Wear protective gear with this, eye protection. It's kind of pretty caustic. Always kind of cheat. Get it in there. And just brush it on. It goes on really easy. Spreads really well. I'm just going to hit everything with some rust on it. You don't even, honestly, unless you're doing some serious painting, you don't even have to prep it, but there was quite a bit of rust on that, so we wanted to get it knocked off. And this OSFO stuff, what it does is it's going to turn it black after it dries, and it won't take too long. Pretty simple. I'm going to put it on the wire too. So when you're done with it, just let it dry. Turn it black, and you can, I'm going to seal it in. Like I said, I'm just going to shoot it with a little bit of primer. That way this is going to be upside down on the bed, which has got a canopy on it, so it'll be nice and protected, but we live in an area where it's wet, so I just want to make sure that this will last as long as I'd like it to. And if you're wondering about this OSFO, we used this when I was in the Coast Guard. We used it on our ships out to sea. It was really great for a lot of that stuff, especially in the salt water. There it is again. now that the truck's cleaned out of all the storage, I'm just gonna go ahead and vacuum this up, my wet dry vac, and then just hose it off. I want, you know, all of this stuff out, so I'm putting a slide in. I'm not gonna be lazy. I'm just gonna get it picked up. It's gonna take me, you know, 10 extra minutes. I didn't mention why I had all this stuff in here. It's for my camper. Actually, it came out of my van, and the van is up for sale. There's just too many issues with it, and it's just not going to be cost effective. So I'm going to purchase another truck camper and put it on my other truck that I have. So yep, get this cleaned up and pretty simple. Oh, we got it vacuumed out. I'm actually gonna hit it with a little bit of, if you do not use this before, awesome. You buy it at the Dollar Tree, and it's a pretty good degreaser. So I use it for mold and grease. Just gonna hit it with that, and by the time I get the hose set up, it's gonna be ready to go. It seems like there was just a little bit more stuff down here. I think I had some oil in here that just kind of leaked out, so it'll get most of that cleaned up. At least it's not sitting under there. Again, with anything, this stuff is also pretty caustic, so wear some glasses or keep your face out of the wind. All right, it looks awesome. Well, a little bit cleaner, who cares? Next, I'm gonna go check and see how that Osfo's dried. See how it's turned all the rust areas to black on that steel. Not perfect, but a lot better than it was. Still a little bit tacky, but I'll wait, get a little bit longer, and then I'm going to hit it with some spray paint. This one's Chris's. It's a little bit bigger, but she went ahead and took the rust off, so she's doing some paint. I'm actually just going to use this Rust-Oleum paint and primer. And this is the underside. I'm just trying to use little things to it to keep it from rusting completely out. It'll probably last a very long time. You get the picture. Over there trying to bend that back in place. heated it up, hammered it some. Use a crowbar. Heat. Trying to get the scratch and dent unscratched and dented. Undented. Dry. This is my piece. This is Chris's main bed upside down. My bed upside down. And this is the other one that Chris got done. Part of this project, we're going to be putting rib nuts in the truck, and so we priced some of these. We could get one cheaper on Amazon, but we didn't want to wait several days because we're trying to get it done this weekend. Went over to Home Depot. Cost more, so we went to Harbor Freight and bought this Doyle. So we decided we're going to use the 5/16 by 18. It would work just fine. I didn't have any 5/16 bolts in, so we picked up a couple of those multi-packs from Harbor Freight, which are pretty cheap, but I use enough around here that I don't have to worry about it. So we're going to give this a shot. The only complaints I really have right now is they give you 10, but Harbor Freight doesn't sell any extras, so we did tell them. They said they'd mention it. I couldn't find it on their website, so I picked up some spares on Amazon that weren't quite this size. We'll see. It comes out a quarter, 5/16. There's metric 8 and 10, 5 and 6, so it's gonna work fine for what we need right now. I'm over there. I also get these gloves. I go through them, but they work just as well as the other ones, and they're like $2, so that's my tip for you today. I use a lot of these gloves, go through them with all the projects, but they last quite a long time, so. Which this would not take 2 days, but we started late in the afternoon yesterday, and then we had to go buy the Harbor Freight stuff I talked about. And we painted, so we wanted to make sure everything could, dry before we install. So Chris tells me she needs help flipping this thing over, and I'm thinking she's talking about the bed slide, because we flipped it over on the one side, and my back did not like me at all. So she says, oh, yeah, I need help flip it. And I said, well, let me go in for a minute, which I went in to take a Tylenol. And I came out here and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And she goes, for what? I said, to flip that. She goes, no, I didn't mean flip that. I just want you to flip this right here so she can finish painting it. Yeah, so I had to get some more Tylenol. It just cracks me up. I'm like, yep, that's pretty much how it works around here. Got to do some more heavy lifting and go get some more Tylenol. But hers just turned out pretty good. There's a little bit more paint on that underside of the bar.
Mine's not gonna line up with the rib.
Here.
Mine's not gonna line up with the rib. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm doing this wrong. Okay. That's what 19 is 8.5, right? 8.5. No, 9.5. 9.5
And
plus.
so this is the dent she got out. You can still see it sort of, but she got it painted. And again, this is a scratch and dent item that we saved quite a bit of money just buying them this way, and they'll work just perfect. for what we need. So it'll be nice. Make our lives easier. But to make our life easier, we have to have
And
for the
Tylenol.
stuff to dry. I did something else yesterday. I don't know if you noticed when I was lifting these up, they wouldn't stay. Well, of course the little shocks wear out, and I had taken the shock off of here on the other side of these side windows because I don't use them as much, to put them on the back because I use the back more. And I had looked up the shocks online, and this was probably, I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago, and I got a hold of the company because I didn't know where to get these at, and said, hey, I'd like to just get, you know, new shocks all around. And the guy quoted me something like $200. I thought that was just way too much, so that's why I ended up just moving shocks to the back. But I found these on our lovely cheap Chinese ordering option of Temu, and other than getting these tabs off was really difficult compared to the older shocks that I have. They're pretty stiff and they seem to be working. I don't use these as much, so I'm not disappointed. I only replaced the one shock, and both sides, it's holding up nice. Comes down. So I'm hoping those will work for now. This one looks like it's leaking, so I may end up just buying a couple of more. They weren't expensive. Probably spent, it was a pair, and I think I spent somewhere around 10 bucks for them. So just another cheap way to so Chrissy's got the bottom part kind of sitting in here, and trying to get them installed on these ribs, and what she found was it didn't really line up on the ribs. So she's taking and just drilling some holes. Because there's the hole right here for it, and she just re-drilled another hole to fit, to make sure it lines up on these ribs, so she can get it square in, because if not, it wasn't going to be centered and it just wasn't going to fit right. I suspect this might be common for some other of these slide installs. First attempt at using this rib nut.
Make sure it's open.
So you gotta twist it, open it up, twist it on there, and put it into the pre-drilled hole, just like so. Right, and then you gotta squeeze it together. So what it's doing is it's squeezing on both sides so that we can mount this, and looks like it's pretty tough. Twist it off. Well, that's pretty handy, actually.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
Put that in, and then you just
So
screw
when you
your
mount
bolt
it,
in.
you're just going to screw the bolt in. So I really like this. We were worried that we were going to have to drill all the way through the truck bed, go get under the bed and mount this. So this is a real nice alternative.
Yeah.
Do it one more time. So again, open it up, screw the rib nut on.
I'll do it all the way and get a little better leverage.
Into the hole. Squeeze like crap. Oh my. Screw it.
Screw it out.
Screw it out, and there we go.
And you're done.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a really handy tool. You can find the rib nuts. That's the hardest part. It's finding some place that carries rib nuts.
Yes. So I did find some on Amazon and I ordered them, but we couldn't get all the sizes for the mandolins that we have. But that's pretty nice. So you see Chris has lined it up. She did have to readjust the holes. So here's the original hole that was in there, and as you can see, it's not lining up with the ridges in here, and so she drilled out the
Yeah, it's
additional
important
holes.
that line up with the ridge. Yeah,
So it sits nice. It's not, you
it's
know,
level.
it's level, and then you can
Squared up.
Mhm.
Yeah, centered and squared.
You know, throw that. What do you need?
I need my wrench for these bolts.
What's in there?
In my bag there should be some wrenches. Or the bag was down.
Got it. Which we both. Did you want the?
Yes, that.
Yeah, okay.
'Cause I don't
We got these at Harbor Freight the other day, which we really like because it's flexible. They fit in there, and they're so much easier to turn. Especially if you can't get a socket into somewhere. I bought metric and standard set, and so I'm just gonna hand tighten that in.
I'm just
The
gonna get
washer.
started here.
Actually would work
one on
better
top,
with this.
one underneath.
It would work better with the socket anyway.
I don't want to torque it too hard.
Okay.
And these are ratcheting, so
Just put a washer down there. Line it up with the hole. Just gonna add one more washer to the top. There you go. Hand tighten, and then of course just tighten them up. That she's going to repeat this on the front set up there, and then thank God the Tylenol's kicked in a little bit, because then we're going to have to
do yours.
flip this up and hold it funny and get it mounted in there, and then the slide's going to be installed. So these ones don't line up either. I was gonna try to film it for Chris jumped in, but a couple of them line up and some of them just don't. So we'll be drilling, Chris will be drilling some holes in this guy after she gets it centered. While she was doing the other one, I decided to rhino line my poor fenders. My old Ranger, I'm using the spray can. I got a pretty good deal on like several bottles of this. So I've got some stuff I'm gonna rhino line. I was looking about the bumpers, but I might replace those. I found some really cool bumpers. Anyway, I've done a lot of painting in my life. When it comes to spray cans, I always like to use these. I don't know. It seemed really hard, and at first this Raptor lining was coming out in chunks, which did not make me happy. So I kept turning it upside down and trying to get it cleared, and then I took that off of there, and maybe just between getting that off and getting it cleared, it finally came out a little bit nicer. So part of my paint job here just seems a little chunky in some spots, and this fender got kind of scratched up, but yeah, I didn't like the chunks as much. But when I finally got it cleared, Yeah, this was pretty chunky. It was just coming out super slow. But I was able to get it cleared. A little chunk on the side. Finally got it cleared on this fender. And of course, it's the nicest looking fender flare of them all, but oh well. From a distance, it looks fine. It'll be okay. I suppose if I don't like it that much after it dries, I can kind of sand some of those chunks down a little bit and then hit it. Again, we talked about the whole bit lineup. So Chris went ahead and set the punch. You can see where she's drilling. You can see where the other hole was. Just in here.
Watch out.
We're fine. Which was right in this track, and it needs to be lined up on these ribs. So she's drilling the initial smaller hole before we stick the big boy in there. I'll use a little bit of oil when you're doing that to help keep because it gets really hot in there and it keeps it nice and loose so you're not busting your drill bit as much. Since we got to drill through a boat, it's just easier to go through a boat. Forward. Oh, you got the rib nuts holding it down in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, but we
Just finish that
need
one.
To do that.
Finish that one, and then take the nuts out of the back, and then come up here and just drill it through the bed. It might be easier. Okay.
It's just the climbing in and out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Get tired of climbing in and out. It's hard on my knees.
I'm just going to pre-drill that now. Pre-drill that one and then slide it back. I don't know. Some.
Yeah. That's good.
There you go. Now, depending on what you have down there, you may have to put some tape to hold it so it's not going all the way in.
I keep this son of a bitch from sliding. This thing from sliding, excuse me. I just want to keep this thing from sliding. Thank you very much.
A little cleanup.
Oh,
Getting some of those metal shards out of the way because you know I'm going to climb in here and bury one in my knee. Chris is ready. She's going to do the rib nuts on the other end. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just film it when she gets up here. I'm gonna give this a shot so I can see how hard this is. I've got a bad angle on it. Squeeze. I have no leverage on this whatsoever. Like where I'm sitting at.
I know. Okay, here, take the camera. I'll let you do it.
Yeah, I can't do it from standing outside the truck.
Yeah.
I need to just be like you, up on your knees and pulling it. You get a little bit more. I'm not particularly really that weak, but you just couldn't get the leverage from
Well,
this.
you're leaning over the tailgate.
Yeah,
It doesn't help.
nothing. Okay, here's the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, here's your other one. Well, I'm really impressed with this. This is pretty cool. This will be nice for some other projects too. Let's mark it down as a nice invention. And there it is.
Okay, now
To
I
a
just
front.
need washers and bolts.
It's in. So we're gonna go over, and I feel like I need more Tylenol again, but we're gonna go over and get the heavy part of Chris's bed rail installed. And then I'm gonna move my truck. I'm gonna take this over there and get this portion installed. And I can't wait to show it to you. Upside down. I'm gonna do some lithium grease in here. And this thing was pretty rusted, so I want to keep it. Okay, that part moves. Guy moves on the track a little bit, so I'm just going to spray inside that track. Should have done this a little bit more when we had it out, but just want to make sure it gets some lubrication in there. Trying to get some inside that track. Boom.
Yeah, I use the slide out for the track, but the lithium for the wheels.
No, I'm just going to use this
Okay.
lithium for it. Chris she's got some RV slide out, and so she went ahead and used that on her tracks. I'm just going to stick to the WD-40 white lithium grease. This is a nice bed slide in Chris's truck. Bring it out. Each time you stop it, it'll go to whatever. She wasn't sure about this ladder. It's not clearing over here, so she might have to take her ladder off. Depends on how far she wants to go with the bed slide. So anyhow, yeah, this one heavy sucker, but it's all set to go. Looks good. She got a little bit more paint to catch up on. No big deal. Well, think the fenders turned out pretty decent on the Ranger. It's okay. We're gonna uninstall. Decided to put the bed slide here in the Toyota instead. Got the deck system in here, and we're gonna mount it right up on there. And the reason we're doing it is because of my fender wells inside. They're about 4 inches too narrow, 2 inches on each side. That's kind of what happens when you buy the scratch and dent. It should fit. It should have fit. I'd have to have a deck system like this to raise it up to be able to install it, but that's definitely going to fit in here, which is okay. At least it's getting used. That's it for the video. I hope that install has helped some people. Just put a general bed slide in. We're going to use the same procedure here for the Toyota. I'd appreciate if you could subscribe and like this video. Take care. Peace out. Bye.